Hello and welcome to my review of the Tyrannid Carnifex brood. Well, I say Tyrannid Carnifex brood. I've built a Carnifex from the brood, and the brood normally consists of two Carnifexes. You can have them both the same if you wish. I've created the Screamer Killer out of the set, and I've created Old One Eye. Differences with Carnifexes, and yeah, I suppose you can magnetize their arms so that you may swap different weapon loadouts, but this is the Screamer Killer, and it normally consists of the four big claws and kind of like a large like acid maw kind of mouth that can spray acid, but it's mainly for kind of close combat. So that's the Screamer Killer. Carnifexes, very straightforward models to put together. You just got your two legs, you've got like a half part for the tail, and then a half part for the chest. You've just got a carapace, and you've got some chimney parts, and then you've just got the forearms themselves and the head that's in two pieces. So very quick and easy to make. The set will cost you £55, but you get two, so in reality it's costing you £27.50, I want to say, if my maths are correct, each, which is a fair amount of money. You know, £27 for a model sort of this size. Yeah, it's like a fair bit bigger than a, you know, Space Marine or whatever, like a Space Marine special character, but it's not too bad. It would have been nice if they were a solid £50 for the pair of them, then you could break it down as £25 each, but they are the price that Games Workshop have obviously set them. So quite a straightforward model to put together. The only sort of issue you might have is holding the arms into place while they set, while the glue sets, and the mould lines on the chimneys. But other than that, straightforward model to put together. I'll just do some size comparisons with other Tyrannid models. So I have a Gene Stealer here, so typical kind of troop choice for the army, and as you can see, it does dwarf a Gene Stealer quite well. I've got a Trigon, I think it is here. Trigon's much larger model compared to the Carnifex, so I hope that helps, just show you how huge a Trigon is, and then a Dimachieron, just for the giggles sort of aspect of it. Yeah, a Dimachieron is much larger, much taller model, but of course, yeah, a fair bit more expensive. Imperial wise, I'd love to show you some size comparisons with a Space Marine. So I'll just put a Space Marine there. As you can see, you know, much bigger than a normal Space Marine, and even a Primaris Space Marine. Primaris goes to about the head height of the Carnifex. So I hope those size comparisons help there. And my final size comparison I want to make is just with the Contemptor Dreadnought, really. Contemptor Dreadnought is almost same height. It'd be nice to see these go toe to toe in battle. You know, you've got this big suit of armor against a Tyrannid, kind of like a mini kind of representation of like a Warlord Titan and a you know, Hierophant Tyrannid Bio-Titan or something like that. You know, that kind of, you know, miniaturized down. So I hope those size comparisons help. These are, I say, medium-sized models. I don't think they're big Tyrannid models by any means, but they're certainly bigger than the, you know, the normal troop choices, but not as big as like the Trigons and the Carnifexes, things like that. So what I'll do now is I'll just show you all the spare parts. I'm going to show you all the spare parts from the Carnifex brood in total. So this is what you'll get after building two Carnifexes, specifically the Screamer Killer and the Old One Eye. So yeah, you get a lot of Tyrannid parts, lots of heads, lots of guns, a fair few spikes and carapaces, and, you know, tail parts, all kinds of pieces that you might want to just use as scenery or put on other bases. You get these big claws. Yeah, there are options to drill holes and put some magnets in and then magnetize arms. I know a lot of Tyrannid players do that already with like the Trigon and the Morlock, but yeah, you can still do that with the Carnifexes too, if you wish to. So yeah, a decent number of spare parts in this kit. Okay, now this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Carnifex, the Screamer Killer in particular. You'll find it in your brand new Tyranid Codex, and you'll find the Carnifex in your heavy support choices. It's a power level of a 6, which is the same as a normal Carnifex. Costs 90 points per model. You're going to have to buy its Bioplasmic Scream, which is 0 points, and its Monstrous Scything Talons, which look to be 15 points for 2 pairs. So that's just 15 points for 2 pairs, not just 1 pair, but for 2. So it looks like it's going to be 105 points, unless I'm reading it all wrong and the Monstrous Scything Talons comes with the 90 points. I would read that as having to pay the extra 15 points. So heavy support choice, let's go through the stat line. It's got exactly the same stat line as a normal Carnifex. So that's a movement of 7 inches, so that's a decent movement speed, weapon skill and ballistic skill of 4+, a strength of 6, toughness of 7, 8 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 6, and a save of 3+. The unit contains 1 Screamer Killer, and it can include 1 additional Screamer Killer or 2 additional Screamer Killers, and each model is armed with Bioplasmic Scream and 2 pairs of Monstrous Scything Talons. So its shooting attack, its ranged weapon, is this Bioplasmic Scream, which is a range 18-inch weapon, assault D6, so you can get 6 shots of this. Its strength 7, and its AP of -4 and damage 1. That can be horrific, you know, getting your 6 shots at AP -4. That can be very, very acidic. Its melee weapons then, the Monstrous Scything Talons, it's a strength of the user, which is strength 6, not too bad. AP is -3, so that's very decent, and damage is 3, and you can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for the weapon. And if the bearer has more than 1 pair of Monstrous Scything Talons, it can make 1 additional attack with the weapon each time it fights. So you're going to be getting 5 attacks there at strength 6, AP -3 with damage 3. That's a bit of a wrecking ball of a unit. You know, a lot of wounds, a decent toughness, good strength, and it's got that ranged weapon, and it's got that assault ranged weapon too. War gear options, you can equip the Carnifex with toxin sacs or adrenal glands, and any model may have spore cysts. Abilities, so it's got this instinctive behaviour, it's got living battering ram, so when the Screamer Killer finishes a charge move, you roll a dice, and on a 4+, so 50-50 chance, 1 enemy unit within 1 inches suffers a mortal wound. In addition, add 1 to all hit rolls in the fight phase for a Screamer Killer that charges in the same turn. Monstrous Brood, the first time the unit is set on the battlefield, all of its models must be placed within 6 inches of at least one other model from the unit, and from that point onwards operates independently as if treated as a separate unit. That sucks a little bit, but that's just what it is, it being a Monstrous Brood. Spore cysts. So if you give it spore cysts, your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls for ranged attacks. It's not cumulative with the penalties to hit rolls incurred from the Shrouding Spores ability. So just bear that in mind, you're not going to get any cumulative benefits, but it's still good and probably still worth taking. And terrifying. Your opponent must add 1 to any morale tests against any enemy units within 8 inches of 1 or more Screamer Killers. So that's a decent ability to have, the fact that it's adding 1 to those morale tests. The keywords: Tyranids, Hive Fleet, Monster, Carnifex, and Screamer Killers. So in summary, I think it's a very decent unit. You know, having 3 of these in a Monstrous Brood as well, starting off together and then moving away, can be pretty horrific. Movement is 7 inches, so that's a good movement speed. The only thing it suffers from is this invulnerable save. However, you use spore cysts, or you get the shrouding ability, you make use of cover, and that's going to help them out. At the end of the day, you get 3 of them and you're looking at 24 wounds there that the enemy's going to have to work hard to ping off, both with the toughness 7 and with the save of 3+. Weapon skill and ballistic skill could be a bit better than the 4+, especially with the low number of attacks, but you know, you're getting 5 attacks, you're possibly going to get maybe 3 of those going through, and when they do go through, you've got that AP -3 and you've got the damage 3. Compared to a normal Carnifex, obviously this is like a custom built, custom made Carnifex with the Bioplasmic Scream and the Monstrous Scything Talons. Your other Carnifexes, they can take the Bioplasma as well, but it's not as good. It's half the shots and a shorter range and a worse AP. Other Carnifexes can take monstrous scything talons too, which are the same. However, they can take like thresher scythes and monstrous acid maws and bone maces, and the crushing claws as well, which double that strength to strength 12. There's a couple of kind of other Carnifexes that are open for Tyranid players, and they are Thornbacks and also an HQ unit by the name of Old One Eye, and he or she, or well, it will appear in a future video at some point. And that Old One Eye has the crushing claws, the scything talons, and a thresher scythe, so no kind of range weaponry there. It is mainly a melee kind of big battering ram. The difference between the Screamer Killer and the Thornback is that the Thornback is equipped with scything talons and devourers, brain leech worms, and chitin thorns, so quite a lot of different things going on with the Thornbacks, but their stat line is exactly the same as all of the other Carnifexes. I must point that out. So in summary, I think the Screamer Killer is a great unit. It's got a nice 6-shot high strength, high AP weapon there. It's got those monstrous scything talons too, which are a good AP. Like a lot of Tyranid units, it's just going to be hard to get it close to the enemy unless you use a Tyrannocyte to sort of deep strike it in. They can include these in them, but without the invulnerable save, it's definitely going to be a target for your opponent shooting. Make no mistake, because these things get in combat, they can tar pit a lot of units because of their high toughness and because they've got a lot of wounds. What do you guys think of the Tyranid Carnifex Screamer Killers? Please do put it in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For the Norn Queen.